Just a little quick one here. I'll be back to streaming soon. I know you all miss me, blah, blah. You'll have to forgive the formatting of this. I didn't care enough to go and find the original, so you're just going to have to deal with a screenshot of a screenshot. But it's very reliable. Oh, that's Giga Stacy right here. Why not Giga Chad? Erasure of men. Sad to see DEI even from the MAGA Voice Twitter account. The blue check, so you know it's legit. Trump just posted this. It should be in the Hall of Fame. This is literally Trump at his best. It must be pretty good. Let's take a look. Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago. Okay, I know he lies all the time, but okay. How many Americans died making Panama Canal? We didn't, it wasn't Americans. We used local. An estimated 5,600 died of injury and disease. But were those Americans? Or were they people, Panamanians? I don't actually know what the term is for people who in Panama, including 4,300 Caribbean workers, yellow fever, malaria, landslides. Okay, yeah, so not Americans. Gotcha. Okay, whatever. Always making certain the United States puts in billions of dollars in, quote, repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything. Why does he talk like this? Always making sure that the United States puts in billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything. He's losing his touch. Also to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high, but if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses would immediately double in size, and they'd be militarily protected like no other country in the world. Likewise, the people of Greenland, which is needed by the United States for national security purposes, who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. Okay. The rest of it I don't care about. If you've been following Trump at all over the past few weeks, he has been nonstop talking about invading other countries. We already know that Republicans have been fantasizing about invading Mexico and stopping the cartels as if it would be that simple. We did so much to stabilize the Middle East. I bet it would work great directly at our southern border. Make Canada the 51st state, which he's largely just doing for, shit-stirring trolling purposes. He's talked about re-annexing the Panama Canal, which was of course given back to Panama, I believe, by Jimmy Carter. After we, held the location for near a century, and he wanted to buy Greenland last term as well. All of these have been largely celebrated by the people who told us that Donald Trump would be respected on the world stage, that he would, use his business acumen to get along with people when Joe Biden wasn't respected enough to do so. The same people who said that Joe Biden was the war candidate, Kamala Harris would be the war candidate, Donald Trump would only ever remove us from wars, even though he delayed the withdrawal date from Afghanistan and ramped up the drone war massively, which Joe Biden largely stopped. Why are people celebrating this? Okay, so this is sorry, I got a cough drop in my mouth. Let me just, you hear that? You hear me crunch that? It's very loud in my head because it's reverberating off my skull. I don't know if the effect is quite the same for you. This is a plain and simple one, okay? But it bears reminding. Fascism, and Donald Trump is 100% a fascist, and so are his, followers, at least the people paying enough attention to actually understand what he's saying. It requires a constant state of crisis. There is no way an ideology this antagonistic to the human spirit, this obviously, factually, provably, empirically harmful to everyone, including the, the white boys who think they benefit from it. There's no way it can survive unless the ridiculous demands it makes are constantly being juxtaposed against the imagined consequences of some insane crisis that they've invented. The clearest example of this that I could think of in recent memory was Donald Trump right in the midterms back in 2022, declaring a national emergency and bringing the military down to the southern border sorry, not 2022. What am I saying? 2018. Bringing the military down to the southern border to stop a migrant caravan, which he did purely as a political stunt for election purposes. And then the military did nothing while they were down there and there was no migrant caravan. You always need an emergency. And the problem is America is a really, really, really safe country. We're not at risk of being invaded. No one would dare invade us. We're completely isolated. We have two border countries that border us, and we're allies with both of them, at least for now. How then do you manufacture a crisis? And I think the answer to this is that, like, over time, it's getting more difficult for the right to, you know, the many of the things that Donald Trump pledged to do prior to the election, he has already walked back on. For example, he's already said that it would be very difficult to lower grocery prices. Oh, sorry. I know that was like the campaign issue. Like everyone voted based on making their eggs cost, you know, rather than $5.32 per dozen, it would go down to like $4.67 or something. I'm sorry. I guess we're not getting that, obviously. As for the tariffs, well, you know, he threatened to enact ruinous tariffs on Mexico, only for him to walk it back after a conversation with the Mexican president, in which they didn't agree on anything. Donald Trump had a conversation with her and then walked out of that conversation being like, oh, well, you know, she's committed to, can I do a Trump impression, or have I been out of the game for too long? I haven't streamed in a while. Claudia Steinbaum has committed to no longer sending illegals. All right, that's the closest we're going to get. I'm so washed, man. Did I say Steinbaum and not Scheinbaum? I think I said Steinbaum. It's over for me. I'm washed. Then Claudia posted to Twitter, and she was like, yeah, we didn't really agree on anything because he's a lunatic, you know. He walks it back. It's difficult to really manufacture a proper crisis these days, you know. A lot of the crises that you used to be able to manufacture, you can't get away with it anymore because, for one, false flag stuff, people got cell phones. You know, it's really difficult to pull, like, you know, psyops like that. For two, the real people who the people who really run this country, right? The shareholders, you know, Wall Street, they don't really like super disruptive stuff because anything that's really disruptive is actually bad for the economy. You know, like the powers that be don't want economic disruption. And for that reason, you can't really start a war. That's why all military conflict that we engage in these days is pithy little, ever since the Iraq war tapered off, we just like do targeted military strikes and drone operations. The kind of stuff that doesn't, you know, it takes a lot of money, but it's money that we give to the military contractors, which Wall Street likes. It's not money being bled away like in a genuine, like ruinous loss of lives or potential value. So real war isn't on the table either. Yeah, well, how do you manufacture a good crisis? I honestly think that nowadays you just have to riff and make up bullshit. Even the immigration stuff is, I'm telling you, it's going to go down over time for a few reasons. First of all, as soon as Donald Trump's in office, he has to pretend that immigration is no longer an issue, right? Like he has to whatever level it's at right now, it could be maintained perfectly into his administration, but he has to pretend now that it's not a big deal because, of course, to admit otherwise would be to admit weakness. Additionally, when he starts doing the mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, he can't do so to the extent that it cuts into the profits of the industries that rely on the 12 million people who are working under the table over there. So he just has to do a couple of show deportations. Basically what I'm saying is, how do you manufacture a constant crisis when nothing ever happens? That's the real question, right? Only one real thing has happened in the past God knows how long, and that's when Luigi Mangione assassinated Brian Thompson. You cut through all the bullshit, all the culture war, all the rhetoric and promises broken, all of the, the takebacks, all of the walkbacks, and you just get one clean assassination. And instantly it all falls. The right-wing pundits are upsetting their audiences who actually didn't like Brian Thompson after they found what had happened to him, pretending that Luigi Mangione is what's wrong with society, or trying to get the, their viewers to be negatively polarized against him, often ineffectually. The judge who's presiding over Luigi's case was formerly married to a pharma CEO of Pfizer or something like that. Am I misremembering that? Luigi Mangione, judge, Pfizer. Yep. Currently married to a former Pfizer executive. Then the former status is him being a Pfizer executive and not her being formally married. Funny, huh? Who's Catherine Parker? Luigi Mangione judges healthcare ties aside. Well, this is tangential. The point that I'm getting at, I guess, is that like we're living in an era of nothing ever happens, where even the loudest and most vile reactionary political forces are immediately brought into line as soon as they have real power, because it would be bad for Wall Street for them to actually do anything spicy. It's not the same economy as it was in the 1930s, you know? It's easy for shabby little underdeveloped countries to make war with each other because they don't have they don't have like this gigantic apparatus, all this infrastructure that comes crumbling down whenever something really disruptive happens. Over here in the West, the Suez Canal got blocked for a few days, and that like led to an economic crisis for a little while. Our supply lines run too long, everything is too complicated, our people are too fat and complacent, nothing ever happens. So how do you manufacture crisis? You spin bullshit the likes of which has never been spun before. Yeah, I mean, you really work it up, you know? Sure, man, yeah, let's re-annex the Panama Canal. Why not, you know? Oh yeah, 51st state of Canada? Sure. Epic troll, my dude. Buy Greenland? Sure. Why not? All of this is a distraction, of course. It's not that nothing ever happens, like really, stuff does happen, but Trump's cabinet, his entire administration is utterly at the whim of Wall Street. You know, they will not do anything that disrupts the money-making machine. The sooner his constituency understands this, the sooner they understand that in a weird way, MAGA is more globalist than even the Democrats. They are more beholden to these international systems of capital than anyone. I just think we're going to see a lot more of this, you know? Like, not just trying to make crises out of nothing, but rabble-rousing that is so, like, at the face of it, so stupid that it comes across as self-parodying. Like, it comes across as cartoonish. That's my thought. That's my feeling. I don't know. We just got to get ready for that. There are going to be a lot of MAGAs that try to tell you it's trolling. You got to ask them, how does this make America great again? What are we doing? What are you talking about? What the f are you talking about, dude? It's wacky. It's very wacky. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. I've been saying that a lot when I record these segments. I say like, you know, oh, I'm rambling. Oh, I just said this. Oh, I'm washed. You really need, it's not just needing chat. It's just like, it's been a little while since I've been talking to the camera. I think my light settings are also off. I could be like at least 7% more handsome than I am right now. You gotta look to the margins for that. You don't want to be caught lacking. Well, either way, we'll be back at it soon. Take care. Get ready for more epic trolling as time goes on. The people who like Trump, like, you gotta understand past a point. You have to reconcile with the fact that none of this is being done to make your life better. I just can't imagine how f***ing sad a person's life has to be for their understanding of what a good politician is to be like, he epically trolled another country by saying he was going to make them the 51st state. Look, he likes the YMCA song. Look, he does the dance. What the f*** are you talking about? You parasocial motherfuckers. It's all surrogate father figure shit. You know, you don't care about anything. It's nihilism. It's always with the projection, right? They're the nihilists and they're the globalists. They have the most globalist cabinet in American history. They have the most nihilistic political agenda imaginable. They have no actionable, no desire to make the country better. There's nothing. They have absolutely nothing to offer people. It's crazy. Well, you know.